You ever come home from a long day, drop your keys on the counter, and suddenly realize you're not alone in your own house? Yeah, that was me. Except in my case, it wasn't a burglar. It wasn't even family. No, it was Patricia Hendress, the self-declared queen of our HOA, standing in my hallway like she owned the place. And get this, her suitcase was already unzipped on the guest bed. I froze in the doorway, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. "Patricia," I said slowly, "why is your luggage in my house?" She gave me that smug smile she always wore during board meetings. "The one that made you want to grind your teeth." "Oh, Jack," she cooed, as if she were doing me a favor. "The HOA bylaws allow the president temporary residence in community homes during emergencies. And since my roof is being replaced, I'll be staying here, in your guest room." I thought she was joking. I laughed. "Good one. Now pack it up." Her smile didn't budge. She held up a neatly folded paper. "Section 14, subparagraph B," she declared, waving the document like a royal decree. "It clearly states that homeowners must make reasonable accommodations for board members in need." I snatched the paper from her hand. It wasn't even an official bylaw, just something she'd typed up herself and printed with the HOA letterhead. A forgery plain as day, but she acted as if it were the 10 Commandments. "Patricia, this isn't legal. You can't just move into my house." "Oh, but I can," she replied, dropping onto the bed like a queen onto her throne. "It's only for a few weeks. Besides, you barely use this room." That was it. My patience snapped. "Listen, you've crossed lines before. Harassing neighbors about paint colors, measuring grass blades with a ruler. But this is trespassing." She looked at me like I was the unreasonable one. "Jack, calm down. It's not trespassing if I have the authority." Her arrogance boiled my blood. "But here's the thing. HOA Karens like Patricia always count on you backing down. They thrive on intimidation, banking on the fact that most people don't want conflict. But I wasn't about to let this woman annex my house like it was her personal kingdom. Not this time. So I took a deep breath, squared my shoulders, and told her the one thing she didn't expect to hear. "Pack your bags, Patricia, tonight." Patricia didn't even flinch when I told her to pack. She just stretched out on the bed, hands folded neatly, and stared at me with that smug calmness that made you want to scream. "You can't kick me out, Jack," she said. "I'm the HOA president. I outrank you." I nearly laughed. "Outrank me? This isn't the military, Patricia. It's my house." She sighed dramatically as though I were a stubborn child. "If you resist, I'll simply fine you for noncompliance." "Do you really want that on your record?" The audacity was staggering. This woman had fined neighbors for wind chimes, lawn chairs, even for leaving their trash cans visible for more than 10 minutes. But threatening me in my own living room? That was a new level of insanity. I walked over, grabbed her suitcase, and started hauling it toward the door. "You've got 10 seconds to get out before I call the cops." That got her attention. She shot up from the bed and snatched the handle from me. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. We're neighbors, Jack. We should help each other in times of need." I stared at her, speechless at the hypocrisy. Patricia had never lifted a finger to help anyone. When old Mr. Reynolds slipped on his icy driveway last winter, she didn't even bring him a blanket. She mailed him a notice about unsafe property conditions, and now she expected me to host her like an honored guest? But she wasn't bluffing. Patricia pulled out her phone and waved it in my face. "If you force me to leave, I'll report you to the HOA board. I'll have fines stacked so high your mortgage will look like pocket change." I clenched my fists. This wasn't just about a guest room anymore. It was about power. She was testing me, seeing if she could get away with the ultimate intrusion. If I let her stay one night, she'd never leave. So I pulled out my own phone. "Great idea. Let's call the cops and let them sort it out." Her smirk faltered. For the first time, she looked unsure. "The police? Don't be ridiculous." But I had already dialed. The second she realized I wasn't bluffing, she started pacing. "Jack, wait. Maybe we can compromise. 1 week, just one." I held the phone to my ear and gave her a cold smile. "You've got 5 minutes to decide whether you leave peacefully or explain to the officer why you broke into my house." The line was already ringing when Patricia lunged forward and pressed the red button on my phone, hanging it up. "Jack, you can't call the police on your HOA president," she snapped, her face tightening like a mask. I yanked the phone back. "Correction, I can. And I will." Her eyes darted around the room as if looking for leverage. Then, in a move I never could have predicted, she bolted toward the kitchen and grabbed the spare house key off the hook. She held it up like a trophy. "You can't evict me if I have a key," she declared triumphantly. I was floored. "You've lost your mind." "Wrong," she countered. "I'm simply exercising my rights." That was when it hit me. This wasn't about her roof or her so-called emergency. This was about control. Patricia wasn't just sneaking into my house. She was trying to plant her flag and claim it as HOA territory. Put the key down, I warned. She shook her head. This will go easier if you just accept it. The board will understand. In fact, I'll schedule a vote tomorrow to formalize my temporary residence here. Unbelievable. She actually thought she could legislate her way into my guest room. I lunged for the key, but she slipped past me with surprising speed for someone in her 60s. She dashed into the hallway, slammed the guest room door, and locked it from the inside. I pounded on the door. Patricia, this isn't funny. You're trespassing. Her muffled voice floated through the wood. Correction, it's called lawful occupancy. And since you clearly don't respect HOA leadership, I'll be drafting a complaint against you. I wanted to tear the door off its hinges. Instead, I took a deep breath and reminded myself, don't give her the reaction she wants. So I did the one thing she never expected. I went quiet. I set my phone to record, walked back into the living room, and started documenting everything. Her suitcase on the floor, her voice echoing through the hallway, every smug word she uttered from behind that locked door. Because if Patricia wanted a war, I wasn't about to fight it on her terms. I was going to gather proof, undeniable proof, that she had overstepped every boundary imaginable. And judging by the rattling, in that guest room, she was already making herself at home. But Patricia didn't know the call I was about to make wasn't to the HOA board. It was to someone with actual authority. I dialed the number with steady fingers, my phone still recording. This time, Patricia couldn't stop me. 911, what's your emergency? My HOA president broke into my house and locked herself in my guest room, I said calmly. There was a pause. Then the dispatcher replied, Sir, can you confirm no one lives with you? Correct. She forced her way in tonight. She's refusing to leave. By the time the patrol car pulled up, Patricia was still holed up in the guest room, humming loudly like she was queen of the castle. The knock at the door nearly made her choke on her tune. I opened it to 2 officers. Evening, folks. Right this way. They followed me down the hall, and I gestured at the locked door. She's in there. The officers exchanged a look. One knocked firmly. Ma'am, police, open up. There was silence, then Patricia's muffled protest. This is an HOA matter. You have no jurisdiction. The officer's eyebrow shot up. Ma'am, this is a private residence. You're trespassing. Open the door now. When she didn't comply, they used the master key I still had on my ring. The door swung open to reveal Patricia perched on the bed like a stubborn cat. Arms crossed, key dangling from her fingers. Officers, she said coolly, you should know, as HOA president, I have the right to remain here temporarily. One officer stifled a laugh. That's not how the law works. I handed him the forged bylaw she'd given me earlier. He studied it, then shook his head. Ma'am, this isn't legal. This is trespassing and unlawful entry. Patricia's face drained of color. What? No! You can't. Ma'am, you can leave voluntarily or you can come with us. Your choice. For once, Patricia had no witty comeback. She sputtered, grabbed her suitcase, and stormed out past the officers, muttering something about ungrateful neighbors. The moment the door shut behind her, I exhaled for the first time all night. One officer gave me a sympathetic smile. We've seen some wild HOA stories, but that one takes the cake. Make sure you change your locks. Already planning on it, I said. When the patrol car pulled away, I stood in my hallway. The silence finally mine again. Patricia might still try to push her weight around in the neighborhood, but she'd never forget this night. Because for once, someone didn't bend to her fake rules. And as far as my guest room goes, let's just say it's staying locked. For good. If you enjoyed watching HOA Karen get a taste of her own medicine, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next crazy story. Your support keeps these wild tales coming.